Hello everyone, my name is Salim and welcome to the Markets Breakdown Analysis for Wednesday, the 18th of October 2023. We'll be breaking down chart and show the exact zones where price will close for potential buys or close below for potential sells as well. So looking at the daily candle for Tuesday, so the daily has been bearish, rejecting the downside, retracing, and more likely will be closing weak bearish, forming weak daily resistance around 182,660. So now we're looking at the weekly candle. So what we can see here is the weekly hasn't done anything so far. And on yesterday's analysis, we've mentioned how we could potentially see price rejecting the upside as the previous weekly candle formed a rejection to the upside. As we can see, we have mentioned how we could potentially see let's say the Tuesday daily candle respecting this daily resistance. So now the anticipation is for price to continue bearish, knowing that the weekly candle from last week formed a rejection to the upside. And now to break down the chart and looking at the daily. So the daily will be closing weak bearish, forming weak daily resistance around 182,700, respecting this daily support formed on Monday. Now to break down the chart and drop it down to the 4-hour time frame, what we can see here is we have the most recent 4-hour support formed around 182,100. The most recent 4-hour resistance formed around 182,710. Drop it down to the hourly time frame. Now on the hourly, what we can see, we have a new range. So zooming in, and the first thing we can see is we have this decent 1-hour support around 182,330. We have a same level of resistance as well, and then we're looking at a 30-minute time frame. We have a same level of support. We can adjust the level of resistance to 182,770. Drop it down to the 15-minute time frame. We can do a slight adjustment based on this 50-minute support around 182,310, and the level of resistance remains the same as well. So now to identify the no trade zone, and the first thing we can see here is, we could potentially look for potential buys above 182,770 as price break and close above this 4-hour resistance. For potential sells, what we could do is wait for price to break and close below 182,310 during high volume time. So we need for price to consolidate before breaking out of this range, and also ideally is for price to break out of this range during high volume time, and this is going to be the no trade zone. And now to look for potential buy. So since the daily candle for Tuesday is forming a rejection to the downside, now the question is this a rejection for price to continue bullish, or is this just a retracement, and then potentially the Wednesday daily candle will fill this wick? So now to look for potential buy. So the first thing we can see is here is we have this weekly rejection around 183,840. Drop it down to the daily time frame, the daily resistance around 182,540. Drop it down to the 4-hour time frame. On the 4-hour time frame, we have this previous 4-hour support around 183,380. But we're looking on the hourly time frame, and what do we see? We have this previous 1-hour support, which is one of the targets we've had on yesterday's analysis, which is the hourly support formed around 183,270 or 280. Looking at the 30-minute and the 50-minute time frame, so this lines up within this previous 1-hour support. So I'd say the first target for buys could potentially be 183,270, targeting this previous 1-hour support. The second target for buys, now looking at the daily, actually let's have a look on weekly. So weekly rejection, the daily, we have a daily resistance formed around 183,540. Drop it down to the 4-hour time frame, we have identified this 4-hour resistance around 183,650. Looking at the hourly time frame as well, that's the same level of resistance, and more likely will be the same on the 30-minute and the 50-minute time frame as well. So I'd say the second target for buys could potentially be 183,640. And now to look for potential sells. Going back to the daily, and what we can see, we have this daily support formed around 181,500, like let's say 181,590, 181,600 within this level. Drop it down to the 4-hour time frame. Within the 4-hour time frame, we have this 4-hour support formed around 181,690. Drop it down to the hourly. Now we can clearly see that we have a decent 1-hour support formed around 181,800, where the hourly time frame consolidated within this range. So dropping down to the 5-minute time frame, we have some sort of a range. I would probably stick to the hourly. So I'd say the first target for sells could potentially be the hourly support formed around 181,800. The second target for sales now, let's go back to the daily again. So now price formed a rejection to the downside around 181.020. Dropping down to the 4-hour time frame, we have a 4-hour support, previous support around 181.480. Looking at the hourly, we have an hourly support around 181.480 as well. We're looking at the 30-minute time frame and the 50-minute time frame. That's the same thing as well. So I'd say the second target for sales could potentially be 181.480, targeting this previous 4-hour support.
Dominion Markets, your trading sanctuary.